All right. There is a conversation that one of the Morris brothers, one of the Morris twins, was having on a podcast talking about how Daryl Morey is pretty much ruining the 76ers organization and specifically –
Ruining or ruined?
Ruined, you're right.
Like,
and specifically the use of AI and analytics. And not just AI, Rob.
I didn't know Allen Iverson was in the front office.
Well, they should be.
Okay.
And everybody's mad at that little statue he got, the little practice facility one. It was like 6 inches. Everybody's like, all right, hold on. This is AI. But he was talking about him using artificial intelligence. The crazy part is, Rob, when it came to like personnel moves. So I get it. All right, hey, how can we run an offense better? Can we be more efficient? Okay, crunching in numbers. Okay, fine, whatever. I get it. It was involving personnel moves. That's what made it crazy. And he started to question, is this why you didn't want to sign James Harden after you promised him you would, and then you backtracked, and that's why James Harden said he's a liar and I'll never play with any organizations he's in? Is this why you went and got a Paul George who's always injury-prone, and then you said, you know what would be a great idea? Let's pair him with Joel Embiid, who's always injured. Terrible idea. And so he just goes on to question that, and to me it's a larger conversation that I love to have, and you knowing all sports too. To me, I think sometimes we forget the balance between information, knowledge, technology, the eye test, just knowing the game, the feel of the game as well.
Well, we talk about that.
And the aesthetics, right? Don't forget this is entertainment. People want to be enjoyed. They want to like what they see when they watch X sports.
We've seen that in the NBA with all the threes, and you get all the blowouts when you have a bad shooting night of threes.
Yep.
Nobody wants to see all threes.
It's just not
they just don't want to see
aesthetically pleasing.
Baseball was in a bad place a few years ago with the home runs or the strikeouts.
That's it.
Like, there was no action. Nobody was on the base
Nobody's
pass.
stealing. Nobody's
nothing.
hitting
And now
play.
they made the changes. Right? Remember, the analytics was so good that guys who were 300 hitters all of a sudden were batting 220 because they would move a field. The third baseman would be in right field. The shift. And take away all their hits. They weren't getting on base. It was ridiculous.
And then when you sit next to guys, obviously when I do the Dodger stuff, sit next to Nomar, Jay Hare, Adrian Gonzalez, and these guys, you want to see them lose their minds? Show them a shift, a whole open gap, and they're like, dude, you can't hit in that? And it's because the last, decade or so, these young hitters, they're not trained. They're
But here's the other thing, too, and I hear what they're saying. But that's not what we.
That's not the spirit of the game.
That's not.
No.
You know what I mean?
They're not. They don't deny that.
Okay, because I'm saying if Aaron Judge is up and they have everybody on the left side, I really want Aaron Judge to dribble a single through first base. That's not what I want Aaron Judge to do.
No, they're not questioning.
Right,
the spirit of the game. They completely get that.
That's the
Their
issue
point
up.
But in the middle of it being a rule. Right, because now it's banned. But in the middle of it being a rule, you should be able to take advantage of it. It's like if you play basketball and I'm giving you the left.
No, I get it.
You should be confident. Okay, I can go left. I can pull a jumper, get it off.
But if we
the spirit of the game, I agree with you.
We went to that and everybody just dribbled the ball. If there were a left-handed hitter and everybody was on the right side, and he
aesthetically,
just
be like,
dribbled the ball down
to
third base, you would be like, is that? Yeah.
And so that's my point with analytics. It starts to hurt the game, and I think sometimes these leagues, Rob, forget about this as much as it's big money, whether it be gambling, whether it be TV deals, whether it be all of that. Also, it's entertainment. Sometimes we forget sports is entertainment. We act like it's life or death. And what I mean by that is we want to be entertained. And when you start putting analytics in, what happened in the NFL, Rob? They're throwing 400 or 500 yards every game. You got everybody throwing 4,000 or 5,000 yards like it was nothing. A bunch of touchdowns. Defense was getting kicked out. Now you're starting to see what? Running backs matter again. You're starting to see what this year. We remember the first 10 weeks we kept talking about it. Defenses have gotten better, and the scoring was down. Yards per game were down because defenses came back. We like to see a little defense. We like to see some running, mixing it up. And I think these leagues get so caught up in analytics and trying to, be the Riddler and figure it all out that they forget sometimes it's a feel of a game. Sometimes, hey, the advantage tonight is just going down low. I don't care what the analytics say. The advantage tonight is I know on paper it says you should be pitching only 3 innings because you're on fire tonight.
Right.
You're going 6.
Well, we saw that. Remember, that was the day that they took out had the no-hit, had a perfect game. Clayton Kershaw had a perfect game on 80 pitches.
Yeah.
And they took him out of the game, and I'm like, dude, Like he looks
that's just
unhittable.
the spirit of the
like
game,
you can't
man.
do that. Like let him walk somebody, let somebody get a hit.
100%.
Then you take him out. But how do you take somebody out of a perfect game with 80 pitches going into the eighth?
And that robs us, Rob. That robs us of magical moments.
Yes, and that was the other thing that I talk about. Like analytics have done that, taking us out of things that we should be at the ballpark trying to see.
Remember that night I was there when Curtin Kershaw threw a perfect game?
Right.
Wow. Remember that night I was there?
That doesn't happen all the time. I was there when David Wells threw one for the Yankees against the Twins on a Sunday afternoon at Yankee Stadium, and I've been covering baseball for 39 years. That's the only perfect game I've ever seen. 39 years I've been going out to the ballpark, and that's the only perfect game I ever saw. That's how hard it is.
After his 79th pitch, they were like, all right, hey, David, here you go. Give me the ball. You had a good one. You would have lost. You know what I mean?
No.
So they gotta come on. I understand new technology, AI, and all that, but AI shmai. Sometimes you just got a feeling. Sometimes it's working. Sometimes you say, hey, man, I'm a coach, and I'm going to sit back. I'm not going to pull this guy out the game who has, say, 65 points in an NBA game, Rob, because analytics say if I keep him minutes and per game. Hey, he's on fire tonight. I'm going to give the fans something to see. I'm going to see if he can go for 70. You know what I mean? I'm going to see if he can go for 80. Sometimes we just want to see that, and I think they rob us of those moments when they become all these nerds and engineers and all that. Like, let us enjoy the game sometimes. So, all right.